from ironing T-shirts and emptying my pockets, and I can see how I personally could treat this world with a little more respect. I can. Or, with a little more mindfulness. Because sometimes I do treat the world, like that empty pocket thing, throwing things down in my consciousness around the world. Even though I know later on I'm going to have to clean it up. And I've gotten to look at why am I careless around the world sometimes, and I think it's because of how overwhelming it can be when I get to think about how much more there is to be done in the world. I don't know about you, but that's where I go sometimes when a subject is too big or it's too overwhelming. I just kind of shut down, and then I don't do anything at all. Even though I know that doing something is the very antidote to being stuck or to being depressed or in a dark place, even though I know it. And one of the keys of our faith is that every single action counts, means something. We say that every journey begins with that first single step, but to make that step, you take it. And then over time, one step after the other, it builds a momentum, and then the momentum creates a consciousness, and then out of that consciousness comes everything, solution, possibility, unity. But do you take that step? That's where it is. Anyway, about 7 years ago, I was reading around on the internet, and I found on a children's website simple things that you can do to help love the world. They seemed so obvious to me, so obvious that I wasn't doing them. You know what I mean? So, when I find something and I get all activated about it, I immediately project it on the congregation. So I printed it all up and I put it in the announcement pages, and so I was sitting there at home thinking, yeesh, I better go dig those out and see after 7 years if I've done anything. You know what I mean? See what kind of report card I got. Not that one. So the first one on the list was plant something. Plant a tree or grow a garden. Not only because plants and trees turn carbon dioxide into the oxygen that we need to breathe, not only because trees help the soil from eroding away and provide places to live for critters and squirrels and bugs and bees, and not only because plants can feed us in a magnificent way, but because in doing so, you develop a reverence for living, growing things. It is very hard not to have respect for something when you touch it and you see it grow and prosper. Love grows automatically. You don't have to do anything except be there with it. And then, also you can, through your example, inspire children and neighbors to have the same regard for living things, if not reverence. So I checked into it with myself over 7 years. Yes, I've been doing good. I did well. Even in my kitchen, I grew all kinds of stuff, herbs with varying degrees of success. And in my garden, I had things planted over the years, an olive tree, a pomegranate tree, a lime tree, a fig tree, and many, many bay laurel bushes. I feel I got an A on that one. Check. Not bad. Then the second one, ride your bike or walk. In other words, when you don't have to go too far, just do anything except don't get in a car. Because not only will you be conserving energy, and not only will you be lessening the amounts of pollutants in the air, but you will be addressing one of the biggest challenges we have in our United States, and that is our sedentary lifestyle. You'll be contributing to your own fitness, and so I checked into that one. Check, yes, I got an A for that. I live close to downtown, and frequently when I have to go get coffee or to the bank or shopping or the movies, I walk downtown. And I love that. And you know what? I noticed something that when you walk somewhere in our town, you see things you can't see when you're driving. And you discover things about our town that you can't see when you're driving. And one of the things you discover, this is not very friendly to walkers. Yeah. It's not made for walking. No. You know, it's very interesting that. And I really had a look at that. Wow, that's very interesting. And it reminded me of the first time I ever walked to work when I lived in Burbank and worked in Hollywood. I decided I was going to walk. It wasn't that far. But you know what? I came across places where pedestrians just couldn't go. There wasn't any way to get from point A to B unless you drove. And that was so amazing to me. I was so late for work that day, but not because of the detours I had to make, because as I walked along, I saw plants peeking out in between the concrete. I found a place to grow. Ta-da! I was so amazed at life all around and the interesting things. You know, you can't see it unless you put yourself in it, you know. And it reminded me of my time in Holland, you know. It's bicycle, 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 pedestrian, pedestrian. It's friendly to pedestrians and bicyclists. Cars, no. It was just such an interesting remembering, you know. And, you know, I looked back, and in those past 7 years, I've walked around Spring Lake, gosh, I don't know, probably every week, a majority.